Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm giving Stockfish one extra Knibus each game until I lose. The Knibus moves like a knight but captures like a bishop. Let's get started with game number one. Alright, game number one, we have one Knibus for Stockfish. This should be a relatively easy victory, but I will take a moment to demonstrate how the Knibus works. As you can see, it just moved like a knight, but on the next turn it could capture like a bishop. We'll go ahead and just continue pushing this pawn. Simply, Stockfish does not have enough manpower at the moment to stop all of my pawns from advancing, so just by pushing these pawns supported by the rooks on either side, we immediately get an advantage. And generally speaking, this is the strategy that we go for. Although in the past, Stockfish has found more efficient ways to convert this advantage. Using this sort of resource that comes directly from real chess games where a rook supports a passed pawn is the easiest way for me as a human to actually get the victory. I just realized, did I promote to a rook over here? No, I just recaptured. Gotcha. We'll go to give check and deliver this nice little ladder's mate. Alright, with that we win game number one. Let's go and give Stockfish two Knibus. Alright, two Knibus on the board now. These are relatively weak pieces, so the same exact strategy should work again. I have removed these pieces that normally would sit where the knight and the bishop go, because in this specific variant, this is the variant Hopple Popple, normally we have what I've called a snake and then two extra Knibus on either side, but for the sake of the simplicity of the video, I've decided just to leave Stockfish with the fairy pieces. Unfortunately, I didn't find a way to replace this with knights and bishops, although obviously that would have been ideal. We can go ahead and sacrifice the pawn, sacrifice a rook, and of course this is the lazy way to play it. Wow, that was free, but for some reason it decided not to take it. It's usually not even worth reading into why the bot does what it does, when the only thing it's trying to do is ward off checkmate for as long as possible. Let's go and promote to a Knibus, just for funsies. The Knibus develops towards the center, we'll give check. Oh, that was free, but luckily we have this saving skewer. We'll go ahead and take back, and we'll go ahead and develop the queen for a nice little ladder's mate. Alright, and with that we win against Stockfish with two Knibus. Let's go ahead and add one extra Knibus. Alright, three Knibus on the board for Stockfish, and actually just for funsies, I've realized that I could castle on the first move, which I always think is kind of gangster, so we'll go ahead and castle on the first turn before we start pushing this passed pawn. Again, there's few enough pieces that I'm not super concerned about coming up with a new strategy. I sort of just have to push whatever pawns I can as long as they are supported. I can't actually move this pawn at the moment because it's pinned to the king. So I'll move my center pawns instead. We do get Knibus back. Not to mention that actually losing these pawns is kind of good for our position because we get better look at the king with the rooks. Go ahead and keep pushing these pieces. Moving all of Stockfish's pieces back to the last two ranks has to be a good thing. We get the Knibus developed again. I'm totally fine with trading it for a rook as long as I start getting them off of the board. I just have to be careful of ideas like right there. Theoretically, Stockfish could have taken on h2. For whatever reason, decided that it was not worth it. But we'll go ahead and keep pushing. Knibus goes back. How do we actually break through here? I guess we need to support it with the queen. This seems to make sense. We drop b5, but we get c6 on the board. Knibus goes back. Okay, it's time to bring all our pieces into the game, and we'll go ahead and trade off just about anything for these Knibus. I almost played rook to b8 there, check, which would have been quite funny because you do look at these for long enough and start to think they work like knights, and then your rook disappears off the board and you remember that they certainly don't work like knights. I think this is free. Nice, we'll go ahead and take here as well, and then push the pawn after the recapture. Knibus goes all the way back, we shuffle out of the way. It does nothing but sort of plug a8, so we can't promote. So we are going to force it out of that cubby, and I guess we might as well win this with some style points. Alright, gotta be careful here, because if I move another pawn, it is stalemate, so we'll go ahead and work down the ladder instead. And that is mate. Alright, with that we defeat Stockfish with three Knibus. Let's go to move on to four. Alright, four Knibus on the board for Stockfish. Funny enough, this is one of the variants that I actually don't remember at what point the player with the Knibus has the advantage. I mean, we're going to find out the hard way anyways. We get Knibus takes. I mean, it can take my rook. I'm honestly okay with that. I'm going to take back with the queen. It's just there's not enough pieces here to trade 1-to-1 and still have any winning chances. I mean, even just 8 of these pawns versus one Knibus should still be completely winning. We'll go ahead and push, try to force this to the other side. We do get the sacrifice. Queen takes back. And this is already crushing check. We go ahead and sack the queen for the Knibus. And frankly, it's not even close. Go ahead and promote this pawn. Or at least force the Knibus to sacrifice, or at least get in the way in this case. Push these pawns straight ahead, bringing the king very aggressively into the position, fair enough. We'll go ahead and defend this pawn. And as long as Stockfish has to make tempo with the king, it's never going to be able to stop this brigade of pawns. Oh, look, we're going to connect like 7 different pawns. How many is that? 6? Connect 6? Nice. All right, let's go ahead and bring the rook out. Now that this pawn is firmly, oh, that is free. I was gonna say, now that this pawn is firmly rooted by 6 different pawns, we'll go ahead and develop the rook. Rook b1 probably would have been a little more precise, but to be honest, this is still completely winning. So let's go ahead and bring the king into the game. We just need to walk him down until we can push the pawns to victory. Nice, we cut off the Knibis, so now we can promote to a queen. King goes up, I give check, and then I just take the Knibis. Don't mind if I do. We'll cut off the king, promote to a queen, and deliver ladder's mate. Nice, with that we defeat Stockfish even with 4 Knibis. Let's go to move on to 5. All right, 5 Knibis on the board for Stockfish. We're definitely getting to the point where it's going to be at least close, because now if we trade 1-1, I don't think that these pawns alone are necessarily enough to defeat 2 of these and a king against an engine. So we're gonna try to force some pawns into the position to at least hold down some of these pieces, give them something to do. You get the Knibis developing. I'm very afraid of these quick attacking ideas because it's very difficult for me to hold on to, and I only have 3 concrete pieces to work with. I guess I could ignore this one and keep pushing because it kind of wastes 2 tempo. Okay, Stockfish ignores it as well. We'll keep pushing this pawn, and then the Knibis simply blocks it, right? And then to actually replace this, I either have to lose one of my pieces or try to push more pawns, but then pawns can get covered easily, so I have to push even more pawns, and that gets pretty sticky pretty quickly. Right now we have the b2 and the g2 pawn under attack. Suddenly this doesn't feel so concrete. Why don't we try this? Developing the rook, and if we trade it off for a Knibis, we at least get some pressure off the position, so we'll give check. It does take, we'll go ahead and take back. Knibis takes on a4, we'll develop another rook. Let's maybe not hang it this time. So far so good. Okay, we trade, that's totally fine. And now 3 Knibis versus a queen and, what is this, 6, 7 different pawns? Should be winning, although it's not easy either. All right, first let's boot this Knibis out of a4. We immediately put in check. We'll move the king out of the way. I don't love that my king is pretty exposed too. All right, the Knibis goes back. I'm sure it's looking to reroute and like give some sort of very annoying check. These 2 Knibis hold on to each other very, very well. Let's go ahead and try e4 with the idea of f4 and e5 with the Knibis. Oh, it was just looking to take on h6. I totally forgot that there's not a rook here defending anymore. Okay, let's play f3 and at least hold on to the position for a moment. Knibis goes back. It's quite annoying because it's like having bishops that can change colors. So it was a dark squared bishop a moment ago, or at least attacking like a dark squared bishop, and defending as well, I guess. And now it's switched colors, so now it attacks like a light squared bishop, which is quite frustrating. We'll play c4 to cut that off. Okay, it simply moves back. We'll keep pushing these pawns. It's now threatening c4. I think I can just hold on to that with the queen. Should be okay. Knibis goes back, now looking at h3. Do I care about h3 or can I just kind of push? Takes with check just means I would move out of the way. It should be okay, I think. I'm gonna push c5. Ooh, Knibis to e5, not threatening anything new that I can see. If anything, just sort of anchoring these knights, or rather these Knibis together. Because again, they defend each other as bishops as well. In which case, I guess we just keep pushing. Whoa, oh, Knibis to c4. Oh, that was like a little trap that it just set up. Because now it hits c4, defended by this Knibis as a bishop, and then it gives this little fork to the queen and the pawn on b5. Now, luckily, I think I can go back to b1 and at least hold on to the pawn for the time being. And that should still be okay for us. Okay, triple battery with the Knibis, but I think I can just keep pushing. We are dropping h3, but I can always move out of the way. Get Knibis to e3 instead. Oh, it's looking for, I see. So it's controlling these squares like a bishop. If it takes here, that is check like a bishop. And the only move would be king to e1. Now, I actually don't think I'm even in danger there. So I think I can keep pushing. All right, we move the king out of the way. This is what we calculated. Oh yeah, but very true to Stockfish. It sort of just holds on to the pressure. I mean, it's sort of got this umbrella over my king, and it's got this Knibis covering f1. So really the only thing it needs is one more that sits on this diagonal, which I can only assume is what it's trying to get at. Unless this is just a defensive move, in which case I'm gonna promote to a queen. Oh, even better. Okay, so even it doesn't believe that there's a mating idea. Oh, check. I move out of the way. I genuinely don't think there are any other checks after that. Okay, it just takes on c5, nice. Weirdly enough, it's not so easy still. There's only 3 pawns left on the board, and I have 1 queen to work with. So should I trade this queen for one of this Knibis? It's a Knibis versus 3 pawns, 2 of them doubled. So it's not really that convincing. Let's give this check. Knibis goes back, it's pinned itself to the king. But the problem is you can only ever fork the king and one of these Knibis on a file or on a rank. Because obviously if you check it on a diagonal, it's just going to take you like a bishop. So this is actually weirdly protected by my own pawns. It's very strange how the engine plays with these kind of niche ideas that would never even occur to us, but when you see it on the board, it slowly starts to make sense. Let's give this check as well. Maybe just Knibis back. Yeah, that makes sense. Check. Okay, I don't want to draw, but I did like it better when it was pinned to the king. So we'll leave that there. Let's move the king out. King moves up as well. Let's give a check to push him back. Okay, so far so good. Quite hard to get at this piece. Maybe I should advance my pawn. I think that makes sense. Not only that, but then they can't collude, basically. They can't protect each other on this diagonal. And we get Knibis to b6. Doesn't actually threaten my queen. Again, it only threatens like a bishop. Let's give check. It'd be great if it moved onto the back rank so I could give check and just pick it up. But of course it's Stockfish, so it doesn't do that. What about this check? King has to shuffle over to defend it. Interesting. I very much could sacrifice here and try to play for the win with the pawns. I don't know if that's too risky. I'm going to hold off for now just on the basis that this Knibis is very tied down as it is. So there's no reason for me to give up the queen quite yet. I'm just going to move my pawns ahead. Oh my goodness, I forgot that they're both attacking the pawn on e3. Okay. Oh, and if I move the king out of the way, I drop f4. Wow, that's very frustrating. Yeah, I do drop f4, wow. And now if I take, that's almost certainly a draw. Okay, let's keep trying to force the issue, although this is turning very drawish very quickly. Yeah, now it just wants me to repeat moves, because if I give this check, king has to shuffle this way, and if I give this check, the king just has to shuffle back. Okay, fair enough, I guess. Let's continue trying to advance the king. Genuinely, I would rather lose this than get a draw. Because then at least I know I exhausted all of my options. Because for example, that could have been a draw right away, but there's no fun in that. We get Knibis to c4, hits the queen. Let's give check. King moves out of the way. What happens if I push e5? Nothing bad that I can see, so we'll play e5. We are put in check. We can just move out of the way, but where to? e4? Seems decent enough. King goes back. You're telling me I can't win one of these with checks? That's so suspicious. Okay, what about this check? Oh, and if king e7, I could have played check and won this Knibis, but it moves, obviously being Stockfish. After all, it moves to f7. I have 3 minutes left on the clock. I never thought the time would be an issue here, but it is. Let's give this check. King moves back. And what if I just play here? Oh, the Knibis goes back, and it defends the other one as a bishop. Yeah, if there is a way to win this, I'm not really seeing it. This feels very drawish. Okay, let's at least try this. Okay, that's exactly what we were expecting to get, but what happens if I bring the king all the way around really slow until I can capture this? Because these guys are stuck as far as I can tell. Oh, they give check. Oh, and that forces me back. Interesting. I'm going to try to force my way through. King goes up. It's going to try and block me, of course. Check, I move out of the way. Check again. There's no way I'm getting mated here. That would be so embarrassing. Yeah, if I move up, I don't know if it's mate, but there's check. I move back. Maybe it's not mate. Maybe I can just move up. Oh, it's a fork on the queen and the king. Yeah, I didn't see that idea. Okay, now I definitely have to sacrifice. I lose the pawn. Can this mate me by itself, or is it going to auto draw when it captures my pawn? Ah, it's an auto draw. Okay. With that, we draw against Fairy Stockfish with 5 Knibis. I'm going to give that one more try and see if we can't pull off with a win. All right, we are back with 5 Knibis on the board. Last time I did this strategy of moving the pawns all the way up, but this time I'm going to do something similar, but with the idea of actually developing first and trading off as many of these Knibis as possible. So we'll do this. I just want to trade those pieces off as quickly as I can. Knibis takes on h4, and now I develop the queen. And surely there's no way to protect all of these Knibis. There we go, king moves over, protecting against that fork. And this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for hanging pieces everywhere. Oh wait, that wouldn't have even been a fork. These defend each other. Okay, now I'm not really sure why I played there, to be honest. But let's continue to develop towards the center. Has to be a good idea. Knibis goes back. They all defend each other on dark squares. Now what happens if I try to start forcing some pawns down the position? Let's go like c4. King goes up. We'll move the king, rather the queen, not to f4, that's hanging. Let's move the queen to d7 with check. Advance another pawn. I have to be careful that I don't expose my king. Knibis targets the queen. We'll give check. King goes back. I like the strategy a little bit better. We'll go e4. We drop this pawn, but it's not really of concern. And Stockfish doesn't even take it. It moves back to e7 to keep these all nice and protected. I gotta be honest, this gives me way more confidence in the position. Now we just have to not hang the queen or any of these pawns, which is probably easier said than done. But let's go e5, looking for d5, d6. Knibis slides back. Let's go d5. King goes back as well. Oh, there's no way this isn't winning. This has to be winning. Let's go, what do I do here? c5. Might as well march them all up evenly. Yeah, king goes over, it has no idea what to play here. So I just have to make sure I don't mess this up. Let's go e6 with the idea of e7 to flex the Knibus, and then I can take, but the king comes into play as well. If I play d6, then what? That has to be trapped, right? So I'll play d6. Knibus goes out of, oh, it's not trapped because this defends like a bishop, but still, we've advanced these pawns so far forward that there's no way to hold on to this position, I bet. d7 removes the guard. I think that's justified. Knibus to e7 means I can just take. Yeah, and this has to be totally winning. Yeah, very nice. Okay, now, queen here, removing this Knibus. Oh no, this defends. Okay, we need to keep pushing pawns. If I push, takes, it's not quite what I want either. So we'll push even more pawns. That's free. Okay, we'll move the king over. Check, I move over again. Surely it's too far removed. Oh, it comes back, okay. Does this actually work? That's crazy. Okay, what about a4? Surely, right, it can't take now because then I just promote. I get Knibus to d5 instead, but I promote anyways, don't I? Oh yeah, it has to be check. Check, sacrifice, completely winning. Too many pawns on the board for Stockfish to stop them all. Yeah, technically I shouldn't have gotten the second chance, but I do want to be rigorous in my exploration of these pieces and the ability of Fairy Stockfish. We'll go and promote to a queen, cut off the king, promote to a second queen, and go for the ladder's mate. Oh, that's wrong. Check, check, and mate. All right, with that, we actually do defeat Fairy Stockfish with 5 Knibus. Let's go to move on to 6. All right, 6 Knibus now on the board. I don't think I want to give up my rooks so quickly this time, so I'm going to start with the pawn push idea, but instead of pushing on both sides, I'm just gonna push on one side and try to force the issue. Oh, we're dropping b2. Yeah, the problem is, from the first move, it's already capable of looking at so many of my pieces. I can't even move up because then I lose the rook. So we'll shuffle over to b1, but then we drop a5. This piece comes in and defends the Knibus on b2. And already, I think this pawn is completely lost. There's no way for me to hold on to that. So might as well castle out of the way. Knibus to b7. Wow, it doesn't even take. Instead, it lines up this battery on g2. Yeah, I have a funny feeling this is the threshold at which I can no longer defeat Stockfish, because it's playing with way too much attacking confidence. Let's go f3, I guess, to stop that idea. And then e4, try to find some sort of counterplay here. Okay, we do drop a5, rook to e1. Yeah, Knibus to e6. I mean, I just feel like my whole position is just getting flooded with Knibus, and there's not much I can do about it. Can't play c3, d4, because that just drops this. Although I guess I could look for d5. It's such a sketchy position. We'll play c3. Check, we'll move the king out of the way. Knibus goes back. Not even a hope or a dream of ever pushing that pawn. It threatens the rook on b1. I could just sacrifice. Feels a little bit in vain though. We'll just move the rook out of the way. Although to be honest, sitting and waiting, yeah, sitting and waiting against Stockfish is rarely the right idea. The only move for the queen here is queen c1. Everything else is covered by one of these Knibus. So queen c1. Okay, Knibus goes back. It's very comfortably rerouting its pieces, which is not a great sign for us. I can't even infiltrate the position. Like all of these squares are covered by one of the Knibus, so literally the best. I can't even go to a4 or a3 or a2. I can't move my rook on the file at all. I can't do anything in this position. Can't even shuffle over back to b1. This rook is stuck behind its own pawn. Why don't we push e5 and try to get some sort of counterplay against the king? Yeah, it doesn't even take. I mean, it can't because it's defended by the rook, but it's just gonna maneuver around my pawn. Look at this cloud of rabbit-looking pieces just consuming my position. What about my queen? I can move her to b2. It doesn't do much, but I need to try to get my pieces out somehow. Oh, yeah, okay. That was setting up a battery, which honestly I should have seen. I kind of just wrote it off as impossible because we have a pawn chain here, but of course it can sacrifice. Should I take back? Takes is mate. So I actually can't take back, which means I need to defend g2. King, this is such a Stockfish move. Crushing attack on the opponent, positional king move. Nice. Let's adjust the king's position. Okay, maybe that means we're actually holding on to some extent. I could take. Knibus takes back, rook g2. We trade a rook and a pawn for 2 Knibus. I think that's fair. I think that makes sense. Oh, okay. It's just going to leave 1 Knibus instead of 2, which is redundant, holding on to the diagonal. It's going to stack more pressure on that rook, which means I have no choice but to bring more defense. Or maybe I can play h3. That's so defeating. I'd rather just bring another rook into the equation. We do get that trade. We'll go ahead and take back. Check. Wow, yeah. It doesn't even take the free rook because it does have this battery looking at that rook, but no. Check If I move to h1, it's checkmate. If I move to f1, check, king over. I mean, I don't really have it. Oh, I can't move to f1. The knight, oh, it's forced mate. I see. So what if rook to f2? Is that forced mate? It's not, but it is losing the rook because it is pinned. Wow, I can't even give like a little check to go for some fancy fork ideas because it's just covering all of these possible squares. I can't even defend my own rook. I mean, two very powerful pieces on an open board and they can't even reach each other. Yeah, it seems 6 Knibus is probably going to be our limit here. That doesn't mean I won't fight tooth and nail, but I don't see how we even get out of here. I don't even have any king moves. All of these diagonals are covered. So this might just be forced mate in 2. Let's buy time with a check with the pawn. How about that? Check with the pawn. Still no checks on the board besides that. And this is literally checkmate in 1 move. So might as well give check with the queen. What a sorry way to go. Yeah, now officially we're out of moves. And with that, we lose to Stockfish with 6 Knibus. I'm going to pop up the analysis board real quick to see if it's even worth trying that again. Oh, certainly not. On the first move, it's plus 1.6, which for reference, in a normal game of chess, that's like having a pawn and a half extra, which against another chess player of equal strength could be a winning chance. Against Stockfish, not even close. But with that, we do find out that it takes Stockfish 6 Knibus to defeat us. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know down below what other fairy pieces I should use, and I will see you guys in the next one.